Hi, my name is Dr. Jennifer Smith, and I'm a Clinical Associate Professor of Special Education in the College of Education at Purdue University. So the science of reading is a vast body of research supported across multiple disciplines, so education, psychology, neuroscience, that really demonstrates how to teach reading and how people learn to read best. So those 5 areas that came about from science of reading that should be systematically and explicitly taught are phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. In the science of reading, there's those 5 key components that have been identified. Phonemic awareness is the ability to identify and manipulate phonemes, which are just sounds, in spoken language. Phonics is the ability to take the phonemes, that phonemic awareness, and translate it to written language, and so now you're able to decode and have automatic word recognition. Fluency is the ability to have accuracy, so to read it accurately. So vocabulary is really making meaning of the words that you're reading. And early on, vocabulary typically focuses on that idea of learning to read because that's what they're starting out with. But as students progress and get older, as well as into adult life, we continue to learn additional vocabulary depending on what we're working with. And that's that academic or content vocabulary that they're learning. So if you think about when you're in a biology class versus an English literature class, there's academic or content specific to those classes vocabulary that students are learning. And so we transition from that learning to read into reading to learn as we progress as readers. Comprehension is really understanding what it is you're reading. And so taking all of those pillars from before, the phonemic awareness, the phonics, the fluency, the vocabulary, you're utilizing all of those skills to really understand what it is that you're reading. We're seeing impacts for students. We know, based off of the research, the data show that systematic and explicit instruction in these 5 key components of science of reading are what works best for students. And many states are now enacting legislation across the United States to ensure that students are receiving appropriate instruction in those 5 key components. For example, here in Indiana, the legislation was enacted in 2023. And it required that all schools, elementary schools, and teacher preparation programs ensure that we were utilizing these 5 components of the science of reading beginning in the 2024-2025 school year. And so we have 1 year of data from its implementation, and what Indiana found on its 3rd grade statewide assessment is that they had a 5%, almost 5% gain in their reading scores of students who are proficient at the 3rd grade level. And so they're largely attributing it to potentially that this is related to appropriate science of reading instruction being utilized in the classrooms. And something of note of that is that's actually the highest percentage gain that they've had since they started taking data for this assessment.